Hey guys, I'm still a bit tired from the full moon, but I wanted to share some things and I wanted to answer some questions. I got some very interesting questions about the skull spells that I think that others would be interesting in hearing as well. So the first thing I'm gonna share is a little update about the whole spider thing. For those of you who don't know, I had a little helper while I was doing the skull spells, a little yellow spider. I thought it was really cute, so I shared it with everyone. Um, so, interestingly, when I was going to bed, I went on my computer before I went to bed and I was just on my Facebook. And you have a section memories basically that I usually never click on. But I clicked and it kind of shows you what you posted on this day years ago. And the first post was actually a song I posted 5 years ago, and it's called Little Yellow Spider, just like the one that visited me. So I thought that was really interesting. I mean, it can't be a coincidence. It just can't. There are no coincidences. So yeah. Anyways, it's a cute song. Listen to it if you don't know what it is. I totally forgot that that song even exists. So that was interesting. Now let's get into the actual topic of this audio. So a client asked me a very good question. So he basically asked me what is like the process with the skull spells for me. And he also asked a couple of more questions that I'm also going to answer just along the way. And you guys that had the skull spell done, you kind of know what it's about and you kind of know how I do it, like the technicalities and stuff. So I will not get into that because everybody basically when they do a skull spell for the first time, you will get an explanation in the video about exactly how I do it. But from the actual energetic view, I usually don't really share those things. But this client asked, and I was like, yeah, wow, that's a great question. Why haven't I ever shared that? So, as you know, spell work is basically energy work. And like I told you, what I do when I do spells is I connect with the energy of the target. And there are people that can connect with energies really well. During tarot readings, you are basically connecting with somebody's energy. So spell work, it's a bit different than tarot. And, usually um, tarot readers do not necessarily also perform spell work or, are able to. So it's not the same process. But what I do when I connect with the energy, because he was like interested in like the actually what I tell them and things like that. So I'm gonna start with some other questions before I answer this one. He also asked me whether their energies are gonna be different. Like whether I'm gonna feel the same or different energies from everyone. And he also asked whether it's easy to connect, if it's like the uh, same on the level of how easy it is to connect with everyone's energy. So, no, they will not have the same energy. So they will all be different. And because they are. So I think that's pretty much expected. And it's not actually always easy to connect with everybody. There will be targets that will be resistant, and you kind of, some of you guys know this, because when we have a target like this, you will kind of see in the video that the candle will be flickering, the flame will be flickering, and it will also make some kind of noise. Sometimes they will even the fire will even just, I can't remember the English word. I'm sorry. It will just basically disappear. The fire. The candle will kind of, just go down. So those will be the signs, actually physical signs, that they are hard to connect with. Of course, in those situations, I just go and I'm persistent until I manage to connect. And it's never happened that I didn't connect after. Sometimes it took like 3, 4 times, but always in the end I managed. So not every target will be as open to connecting with me, but that's pretty rare. It does happen. It's not that rare, but it's not common either. So now to the process. So how I do it is that I start with basically greeting them and kind of telling them, doing some little chit chat, basically. Like because it's basically I'm connecting with their energy, right, with their essence, their higher self, whatever you want to call it. And it's kind of like if I was talking to somebody um, in person. So I will do a little chit chat. Hey, I hope you're doing well. And if it's somebody that I already spoken with, that I already did a skull spell for, it's gonna be like, hi. So we are kind of seeing each other again. It's just gonna be catching up with the person, basically. And it's also to kind of relax them and relax their energy, so they will kind of be more more I can't remember the word again, but they will be like more willing to listen to the rest. And then what I do is I basically just again talk about you. If it's an ex, obviously, I talk about you and how much you love them and miss them, or whatever the situation is. Now, this is just an example because everybody has different situation, but basically, I'm gonna talk about you. For example, Karen feels so sorry about what happened. If it's like something like that, if there's some resentment, it's gonna depend on the situation what I'm gonna tell them. And then I'm gonna tell them some things, I would like them to do or say. You should really take Karen to a restaurant or whatever it is. And the way I do it is just like I've described to you. So like a conversation. And during that conversation, I do tap on the head because that kind of helps me to just to put that energy and to kind of stay connected. But yeah, I basically talk to them like that, and there is no forcing, and there is no like giving orders like you're gonna do this and this and this, and you better do this and this and this. Like I don't do it like that because that is not what people respond well to in general. So obviously, while performing spell work, you shouldn't be doing that either because again, they will not respond well to that, and they will not want to follow orders because people in general don't like that. You probably noticed, if you have a child like a teenager and you're like trying to order them around in that manner, it's not going to work. But if you talk to them nicely, it's going to have a different effect. So you got to be smart about it. You really got to know psychology and everything. And I know that some people, especially with like the skull spells, because there are everybody has their version, right? And there are like some versions that are like um, one of those spells you can kind of see around and copy and stuff. And it's always about like really dominating, ordering, things like that, which is not what people respond well to. And I often wonder, who writes these spells? Because that is not what somebody's essence is gonna be like. Oh yeah, if you order me around, that's what I'm gonna do. So it just doesn't make sense to me. So, anyways, having a nice conversation, and then at the end, I greet them and I thank them, which I think is also very important. And basically, I treat them really kindly and nicely, unlike some suggestions you can see online where they say that you should be really like firm and give orders and things like that, which I do not agree with. So anyways, I thank them because they allowed me to connect with them. They have listened to what I had to say. I definitely am very grateful for that. And that is basically the process. So I think that was the only question, really. There was a couple of them, but yeah, that's mainly it. Um, for everybody else that has been asking whether the skull spells are still performed for 7 days, I do get that question quite a lot because I think there are some stuff on this channel from the period when I was doing them for the 7 days, and that was just for a couple of months. Um, and I remember I started it on like a Scorpio full moon one year, last year maybe, I don't know. And I'm a Scorpio moon, so I just wanted to do something special. And then, I just did it, I think, a couple more times. I'm not sure. I think I have, yeah. And basically, the reason why I don't do it for 7 days anymore is because the effects were not like any better. And of course, 7 days after the full moon, it's no longer a full moon. So it's just different moon cycles. So that's probably why. So I just went back to doing it just on the full moon day because there is no need to do it further. But I love to experiment and try new things. And so yeah, that was that basically. Anyways, guys, I hope this was helpful and I hope everybody is doing well and having a great weekend. I love you guys. Bye.